Hello Internet, and welcome to my review for Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba episodes 5 and 6. I meant to have episode 5 out last week, but that didn't happen, so we're doing both of them today. When we last left our heroes, Tanjiro had gone to take the final selection to become an official Demon Slayer, where he encountered this super powerful demon that Orokodaki had stuck on the mountain eons ago and had been killing all of Orokodaki's disciples who had taken the selection for years. And at long last, Tanjiro finally manages to kill it at the episode's end and put an end to all of these years of it going after disciples of Orokodaki. So we open this episode a bit before that, starting with this masterful black and white sequence of Orokodaki capturing the Morph Demon way back when, that chooses to play Orokodaki as like a horror villain, chasing down this terrified demon. It's really well done. It's a really nice sequence that works really well. I was a big fan of it. That being said, the show makes this weird choice to like mourn for the Morph Demon, and I think that's kind of an odd one that I'm not sure really works. You know, while he was alive, he was just like snarling, over the top, super evil, like no moral grayness in him villain. And then all of a sudden, they just take pity on him as he dies. And like, I think it makes sense. Tanjiro's relationship with demons, as his relationship with demons starts with Nezuko, I think it makes enough sense that Tanjiro would pity him for the sequence to work. But still, it's still an odd choice, I'd say. Yeah, moving on. Also, after the demon dies, the sequence of Tanjiro like watching Orokodaki's other disciples fade away is also sweet. It also doesn't really mesh with taking pity on their murderer right before we have that sweet sequence of them leaving. It's just a really weird bit. Anyway, we then get a real short action scene of Tanjiro slicing a couple demons and trying to ask them how to turn Nezuko back into a human. But after that, Tanjiro makes it back to the Wisteria, ending the exam. Then as morning comes, we get a long sequence of the aftermath of the exam. We find out there are only 4 survivors out of 20. I'm trying to remember if running away was an option, or if the other 16 are all dead. I'm assuming they're all dead. But the survivors include both the blonde guy and the Scar guy from the opening. Scar guy we see is very confrontational, and the blonde guy is kind of a coward, and I'm already a fan of him. We also get to learn all 10 ranks of the Demon Slayer Corps get crows for communication, and get to pick the ore for demon slaying swords. I will say this sequence is more than a little overly expository. It's probably the weakest part of episode 5. But it gets the job done, you know. Anyway, then the 4 survivors come up and pick out their ore. The ore that'll be forged into their demon slaying sword. They all look identical, except Tanjiro picks one out thanks to his smelling abilities. And we don't really find out what about the smell attracts him to the ore. Maybe we will, as the current arc with episode 6 goes on. But honestly, I'm still hoping we get some kind of answers about Tanjiro's insane smelling abilities. Also, there's an older demon slayer whose face we don't get to see, who says that 5 survived, which does not seem to be true. Maybe that 5th will turn out to be our hoghead boy, who is still missing. I've still not met him, and I want to meet him, because he wears a hog on his head. It's funny, okay? Anyway, Tanjiro gets home, after the final selection, and we find out that Nezuko is finally awake. After 2 years of being unconscious, she's finally back. This leads to a great sequence of like Tanjiro's joy and relief in seeing Nezuko awake at last is mirrored by Orokodaki, who's shown up. Orokodaki's joy and relief at seeing one of his disciples finally survive the exam. That leads to their great tearful group hug that's the thumbnail of this video. Then we learn a little more, then we go back into exposition mode, for really the rest of episode 5. We learn a little more about demons, how some have this power called blood demon art that's kind of like magic for demons. On how Nezuko does not have that. That's not why she's asleep for so long. But she may be replacing the demon's need for human flesh with sleep. That's a potential answer that Orokodaki brings up. Not confirmed yet, who knows. But anyway, 15 days later, Tanjiro's sword... So the creepy sisters mentioned that it'll take 15 days for the sword to be completed. And 15 days later, it arrives with the hands of a swordsmith named Haganezuka, who is a riot. He's really funny. I love him. And we find out that Tanjiro's sword turns pitch black when he wields it, which is weird. In this universe, there's very little, very few black swords happen. And Orokodaki mentions that people say that's because black sword wielders don't last very long. Which is kind of a nice contrast, how normally kind of rare weapons in shonen are like, oh, it's a sign that you're going to be a legend. And that's not what this is in the slightest. But anyway, right after that, a crow shows up, screaming Tanjiro's name, and giving him his first mission to head to a village to the northwest, where a demon is making people disappear. We get a little bit of that, and episode 5 ends. Before we move into episode 6, though, real talk. Why does the Demon Slayer Corps not tell Tanjiro the village where his mission is supposed to be? Like, if it was for a test, we're testing you to see if you can find this village and then yada yada yada, that would be one thing. But he's supposed to be helping the village, right? That's his job, is to help this village. It's much harder to help a village when you can't find the village. It's a weird thing. I don't know. Anyway, it's a really minor thing because he finds it real fast. Moving right into episode 6, we get to see Tanjiro in his Demon Slayer uniform for the first time. And it looks to be kind of a play on the kind of outfit that would eventually become like a middle school boys uniform. Under that checkmarked cloak from the key visuals. And Tanjiro goes to head off to the village to save the day and be a Demon Slayer and all that. But before he goes, Orokodaki reaches over and does his top collar for him, which is such a proud dad move. It's really sweet. It was a great moment. Then he leaves Orokodaki. And yeah, in pretty short order, as I said, Tanjiro arrives at the village where his mission is, finds the guy we saw at the end of episode 5, and asks the guy to hear what happened that at the end of episode 5 that we all saw in the previous episode. And the guy takes Tanjiro to the place where his girlfriend, whose name I believe is Satoko? Yeah, Satoko is what I have in my notes. That might be wrong, though. He takes him to the place where all that happens, and Tanjiro just gets down on all fours and starts, sniffing the ground, because, of course, he smells things, what he does. But I love the sight gag of, everyone just looking at Tanjiro like he's a fucking alien, as he's just, sniffing the ground everywhere, trying to find this demon late into the night. But as night falls, we transfer away from Tanjiro to the episode's best sequence. This delightfully creepy sequence of the demon kidnapping another young girl from her house. And this is just an incredibly well done sequence all around, as we see the puddle following her. We know the demon's under there and she doesn't. And she gets ready for bed, and she finally goes into bed wondering, oh hey, I sure hope all those girls are alright. As we see the puddle is now expanded to be the size of her bed, and then the arms come up and grab her and drag her under. This is important for a lot of reasons, for a couple of main reasons, one of which is kind of undone by episode's end, but it still is a weird thing to bring up. So the first is that it gives us a look at how the demon operates. It shows up as a puddle on the ground before dragging his victims down. This will be very important when he fights Tanjiro later on. The second is kind of undone by once you find, because the second is that the way that this girl is captured is not quite the same way Satoko is, because she does not have the chance to make a sound. is like in a heartbeat. She doesn't get to say anything, and she just falls to the ground. Whereas this girl at least tries to make a sound. But that's all undone when the demon shows his like collection of the hairpins of all the girls he's eaten. So yeah, it is the same guy. Anyway, thanks to Tanjiro's magic scent powers, he's able to find the demon real fast and save the girl before any real harm can come to her. And they start fighting, but midway through the fight, with this new morph demon, we find out he's a morph demon as well. We get this random flashback to Orokodaki telling Tanjiro that the only demon who can create new demons is the original demon, whose name is Muzan something or other. This does create an explanation as to why Tanjiro could fight the morph demon in episode 4 without worrying about his blood getting everywhere. You'll recall during my video for that, I was like, hey, why is Tanjiro not worrying about any blood getting on him as the demon is like just dropping gallons of blood? But it does lead to the question of how this Muzan guy gets around so much to create every single demon we've seen in the series. The idea that only one guy can create every demon is a weird bit. I don't know why that's a thing, but anyway. That will probably get more answers too. The next episode is named after him, so we'll probably get a lot more answers there. But anyway, the fight is decent. It's not much by the lofty standards Demon Slayer's already given us, but compared to, like, normal anime, it's not bad. And that's, of course, when you find out that Satoko has already been eaten by the Morph Demon, so yeah, that happened. But anyway, this fight continues being definitely, like, the lowest fight we've had yet, until Nezuko kicks open her box and, like, twists the demon's face around several times. Doesn't kill him because the demon takes more than that, but finally, Nezuko stops being like a puppy dog and actually joins in the fight, which is great. She does this, of course, through another bit of weird plotting, with the sudden reveal that Orokodaki has hypnotic powers, and hypnotized Nezuko into believing that all humans were her family, which is why she sees the two humans as her and Tanjiro when they were kids, and that demons were the enemy of that family. So yeah, that's a thing. But you know what? I don't mind, as it allows us to end the episode on Nezuko just fucking drop kicking one of the demons as we cut to black cue credits. So yeah, these episodes were pretty good. Unfortunately, they just were not up to the high standard the show has given us so far. Episode 5 serves as a nice epilogue to everything that's come before. We kind of meet the survivors of the final selection. Nezuko finally wakes up, Tanjiro gets his sword and becomes an official Demon Slayer and heads out on his first mission. And we have a sweet reunion with Orokodaki. Episode 6, on the other hand, is just... But all that being said, episode 5 is kind of a neutral episode. There really was not that much to say. As y'all saw, I was done with it 6 minutes into the video. Yeah, episode 6, though, just was not anywhere near as good as what we've had so far. Still plenty of good sequences. The demon being about to catch the girl was a particular highlight. Its story is just kind of nowhere near as dramatically rich as the first 5 episodes. Still, next episode seems to be wrapping up the fight, and given by its title, we'll be getting nearer to the man responsible for all of this. So I'm very excited about next week. Next time, we'll probably finish up this fight and get more information on this Muzan character. But I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy. And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!